Hello and welcome to this presentation about university journals, a proposal for a new open access publishing platform for all academic content, owned and operated by universities and linked to their repositories. So firstly, I would like to thank the organizers for giving me a chance to speak to you about this project. Considering the current difficult circumstances, I greatly appreciate the efforts for changing the conference into a virtual one. For me, I certainly like the concept, and I hope this proved to be a blueprint for future meetings. My name is Haring, and I'm the head of the support team for research and teaching at the Library of the University of Amsterdam. I was also the project manager for university journals. Please keep in mind that my presentation shows very much a work in progress. We are still finalizing the next stage of the proposal, and the final version will almost definitely be different from what I present here. Before we move on to the project in more detail, I would like to start with this headline from a scholarly kitchen blog from a few years ago. It asks a question that I believe is still valid. Why hasn't the Academy taken back control of publishing already? The article itself discusses at length a few very valid points and challenges around running a university press. But of course, academic publishing is much more than just university presses. And there are a number of very nice examples of where Academy actually took back control of publishing, often not in the context of a university press, but more as infrastructure. Archive and repositories, open journal systems, research data repositories, publishing management software, but also more policy-minded initiatives like the Plan S in Europe are examples of where Academy tries to influence the way the scholarly output is published. And this is exactly what university journals aims to do. Provide an infrastructure for academic publishing close to the universities. So the project was initiated by Professor Frans Oort at the University of Amsterdam, who got frustrated with the low level of service, the high publication costs, and the slow move towards open access at the large commercial publishers. So together with 13 European universities, we identified a list of requirements that a new publishing platform should be able to provide in order to be future-proof and sustainable. So we need to be able to publish a lot of different article types, a lot of different content types, without bias, quickly. The platform needs to be transparent about peer review and about metrics in order to support research integrity. We also need to provide metrics from our own to support research evaluation. And of course, the platform needs to be owned, operated, and funded by academia. Finally, we really like to avoid sending invoices to researchers. Nobody likes that, so that should not be done. Please let me emphasize here that University Journals is not a university press. It is infrastructure, an open access publishing platform to publish academic content very close to universities. Because we keep it so the platform close to universities, we can link it to the existing institutional repositories, providing a seamless experience for researchers who want to publish both in the repository and in the open access platform. The funding is through the universities themselves. We will not charge researchers an APC, but we also will not charge subscriptions. So it could be considered a diamond open access platform. Because we are in control as universities, we can make sure that it complies with all requirements and ambitions that we have for open science. For instance, we can make sure that all kinds of research projects, research output that are worth sharing can be published on this platform. We will also make sure that it complies with existing regulations from funders, such as Plan S, but also from ambitions and the Declaration of Research Assessment, DORA, and the Horizon Europe Open Access 2020 requirements. So researchers never have to worry if this platform is suitable for their work. It always is, because we take care of that ourselves. And lastly, we'd like to offer a very efficient quality assurance and peer review steps to speed up the publishing process. So one of the aims for university journals is to provide a very streamlined publishing experience. And of course, peer review is one of those important factors that we need to take into account. So we all know that the peer review system that is currently used by academic journals is not optimal and has a lot of disadvantages. It is very slow. It's very difficult to find reviewers who can invest the time and effort needed to properly look at the submitted manuscripts. And because peer review is tied into impact factors and prestige, this leads to journals having a very high rejection rate, which means that for an author's perspective, a researcher point of view, it is a very inefficient process. They will need to resubmit their work, often several times, in order to get a publication. So the university journals tries to solve these issues by offering a very fast baseline review for most papers. This is not peer review; it's quality control, but it's designed to have a very predictable outcome. If a researcher supports a decent piece of work, it is probably good to go. If researchers really need the traditional slow external peer review, that is always possible as an option, but not as a requirement to publish on the platform. So here we have the workflow we designed for peer review and quality control at university journals. And please keep in mind that this is still a work in progress. It may change. But researchers can submit directly into the platform, or if a paper is already present at a university repository, we can ingest it and have the submission done automatically. So at the platform, we will do both quality assurance and an optional peer review step. So quality assurance is really about, do we know this person? Do we know the research? For instance, because the research was funded externally. And if that is the case, the paper can probably just be published as it is. If researchers want, they can still have the traditional peer review done. That will take longer, of course, but it can be done from the system. Once all the quality assurance and peer review steps are done, we proceed to publication. And the system, the platform, will provide all the services that a modern publication platform will need: reader comments, transparency, open peer review. All that will be there. But we also put a lot of effort into dissemination, using Crossref, the directory of open access journals, Google Scholar, for instance, to ensure that we get maximum readership for the papers that are published on the University Journals platform. So we believe this peer review and quality assurance structure will work because we based it on 3 assumptions. First, we assume that there is a level of trust between researchers and the institute. No researcher is willing to submit a substandard manuscript for publication. But also, universities are looking to publish and disseminate all the work that their researchers produce, not just the glamorous high-impact stuff. And lastly, we are aware of the fact that we will never be able to ensure that all publications are 100% sound. Science is complex, mistakes are made, right? So we trust our researchers, and we feel comfortable checking quickly and get the work published out and getting it out there quickly without spending months to find expert reviewers. In the rare event that a publication turns out to have major issues, we will deal with this after publication. We can retract the paper, we can amend the paper, and by that correcting the publication record. The University Journals content platform will put articles first, not journals, and will offer advanced search and access options for readers, so they can find relevant literature using keywords or look for disciplines of universities, author names, anything else. The platform will also be transparent about what has happened to a particular paper. Was it reviewed for quality or also peer-reviewed? The review comments will be shown. And of course it will feature metrics that shows how many readers or citations a particular paper has. It tries to be as transparent as possible towards the readers, so readers can make up their own mind about the quality of a particular manuscript. It will also offer very prominently branding of a university or institute or consortium. We expect that this brand will take over kind of the journal branding and be in that way be compliant with the DORA ambitions of moving away from journal-based metrics. In our investigation, we looked at different platform technology to run university journals. And we found that our ideal platform was both inexpensive, customizable, and low maintenance. So we looked at 4 available different platforms. We looked at our own development based on open source technology on the open journals systems. We looked at commercial available platforms, a repository platform, a traditional university press platform, and an open access journal platform. And it turned out that our ideals of cost, effort, and customization where, as always, you can have 2 out of 3. Inexpensive and low effort means you have to use something off the shelf. It's not customizable. Whereas if you want to have a customizable low-cost option, you'll have to put a lot of effort into it ourselves. But I suppose that's fair in how things work. To wrap up, I'd like to share with you some of the lessons we've learned while working on this project. First, the name. We chose University Journals as a name because we wanted to emphasize towards readers the type and quality of content they could expect from the platform. But it turns out that some people expect or expected that they could move their existing journals onto this platform, which is not the case. Secondly, Plan S, about a year ago, created a very strong urgency for universities to be able to offer Plan S compliant publishing options for their researchers. By now the dust has settled a bit, and the urgency is definitely less. Finally, we found that academic publishing means different things for different people, and we needed to be able to include a lot of different forms of publishing, not just journal articles, but also books, data announcements, reports, and a lot of other types of publishing, which puts challenges on the infrastructure behind the platform. But this all doesn't change the fact that we really need more platforms for academic publishing controlled, owned, and operated by academia. And with that, I'd like to end this presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.